This is the
Independent
Filmmaker's Guide
from Framework Productions.
Framework
Productions.
This is the Independent Filmmaker's Guide mini episode. I'm your host, Stephen Pierce. When I think of a romantic comedy, I think of films from the 80s and 90s starring Tom Hanks, Matthew Broderick, Helen Hunt, Meg Ryan, and other staples of the genre. But more and more, those films seem to reflect a time that seems more in our history than our present. My guests today are sisters, taking aim at the romantic comedy genre in an effort to make it resonate more with the actual experiences of Millennials and Gen Z with their production company, Slate Productions. Welcome Amy and Kimberly Datnow, here to talk about their first film, Daddy Issues. Amy, how did you guys come up with the idea for the film?
Well, it's quite a personal story to us because our dad died when we were not much younger, but a couple of years before we made the film. And we were living in other sides of the world. I was living in Israel and Kimberly was in LA. And we'd call each other and talk about our modern dating kind of mishaps, whatever that means, and just laugh at these stories. And we wanted to make a film about different types of issues that we came across, different types of daddy issues, basically.
We wanted to make a film about like things that your parents do that like really kind of mess you up.
We both loved like 90s rom-coms when we were growing up, 2000s rom-coms. And we just felt like they were a bit unrealistic sometimes to the things that we actually went through. And so we wanted to make things that were actually realistic to what we were going through.
More kind of deeper issues being resolved. So I think that we were like happiness is an inside job, and I know that it's like the cliche term, but it's also the psychology behind that is that romantic comedies don't necessarily have to be the typical traditional trajectory that they were in the 90s, for example. I think that was where kind of Clean Slate started, and that's how we were born. And now we've got a couple of films coming up, and we're finding more and more funding for the types of stories that we're making.
So which one of you tore up a bunch of pink flamingos in an ex's yard?
I mean, that was the flamingos were like a metaphor for like the kind of female like empowerment that you feel when you've like just broken up with someone and you're like, oh my god, like,
and you get drunk and you get a group of girls together and it just like escalates.
Yeah, but I think we have real fun with that scene because we were just kind of like, what can we do that would be like the most destructive thing? And at the time there were these flamingos in like the dollar store, and we just thought that would be hilarious to rip these heads off this this kind of cartoon item that, well, why else do they sell these flamingos if not to do?
Do you remember when flamingos were everywhere? They were just on everyone's Instagram, and so we were just like, we have to use flamingos.
Yeah.
Yeah, we came to hate them as well. We were like, it was quite cathartic. We kind of pitched the idea to each other back and forth. And then we kind of sat down and thought, what are the hilarious stories that we've heard from our friends? And like, it was a real labor of love. A lot of stories are real stories that our friends were going through.
Yeah. And how long did you spend writing it and developing the idea?
About 6 months.
About 6 months to write. And when did you actually, and how did it go from a script? How did you get to the next step of actually turning it into a thing?
We heard these stories over and over again. We were like, wow, this isn't just our problem. This is actually a problem of the generation. And I think that's when we thought we could make a more universal story out of it. So
once you had the script done, did you partner with a production company? Did you know like the director, or did you guys do it independently?
So Amy and I are actually real sisters, and we realized that there's actually no other real sister production companies in the UK. So we thought, wow, we'll be the first real sister production company. So we set up our own production company, Clean Slate Productions, and we realized that making stories that were funny for the millennial generation would be a really good company brand. And we set up the Instagram, and we immediately got a lot of followers from just promotional things that we put out there. And then when we took this film to festivals, we got a massive audience following and won some audience awards as well as Best Actor, Best Film awards. And I think that filming the production company and doing it ourselves was actually the best way to get funding for this project and to get this project off the ground. Because, like you said, it is really difficult to fund indies, and it was really also how we got Peter Jason involved, who's done adaptation with Meryl Streep and like a few better known actors.
So how did you guys go about finding? So you went to festivals and it went well. You were doing well in these festival runs. How did you go about finding the sales agent and connecting them and getting through that? Did you do it through an agent, or how did you get the connection?
At first, we were pitching to a lot of different people, and then the one that we went with actually just approached us through a festival that they found us through. So that was really great.
I mean, I think that's the dream, right? You display at a festival and then they actually see it and they're like, hey, I'm enthusiastic about what you're doing. So Amy, what is it like finishing your script and then watching it kind of come to life in these scenes? And how do you, was there a lot of improv, right? So how do you handle that as being a writer?
Well, I came from a journalistic background, and I was sent to this press screening of Noah Baumbach's film, and that's when I got really inspired by the mumblecore movement. I don't know, do you know the mumblecore movement?
I've heard the name. I'm not sure I could say what it was off the top of my head.
It's kind of really realistic, where you let the actors improvise, and we had a lot of UCB people and people that were good at improv. So I wasn't too precious about the script, and it was just really cool to see it come to life. It was different. I think it's always different from what you imagine it's going to be, but that's what the filmmaking process is about, isn't it? Just like...
Yeah, absolutely. Amy, do you remember any scenes that you like wrote and you imagined kind of one way whenever you both were writing this, and then when you got to set, they just totally took a different turn and you just let the actors go and follow their lead?
Yeah, definitely. The scene in the office where Kimberly does her kind of stand-up scene, that went really well. I really enjoyed how that turned out. It wasn't exactly to script. And I remember also, like, we had an issue with like a wardrobe item that became like a major piece, and then we lost the jacket or something. I was running around everywhere trying to find something that looked the same, but like it was impossible. So that was just like a ridiculous thing that happened.
We filmed a scene one time, and it was 2 days in one location, and an earring disappeared after day one, and it was a very, very prominent earring. And it was quite an eventful morning. I didn't find out about it till we were ready to roll, thankfully, because I would have freaked out a lot more. But luckily, they found it in a soap dish or something somewhere insane. But I can sympathize with the disappearing piece of wardrobe.
Yeah, it's crazy how much you need these pieces. I mean,
yeah. It was like that one piece of wardrobe was almost part of the character's identity. So it's like if you lose the earring of like in The Girl with the Pearl Earring kind of thing. It was like,
yeah. How many backup earrings did they have?
Yeah. So Amy, if there was something you could go back and change doing this over again, having made the first one now, what would you do differently?
I would probably spend more time developing the script, because we went in and it was really cool to keep it quite loose, but we were still changing things when we were filming, which, you know, came with its own quirks. But I was once in a Q&A session with Woody Allen, and he said that he would rewrite pages on set on the morning of being filmed, because he just felt like he needed them to be changed, you know. So I think it's cool to keep things fluid, but definitely spending a bit more time in development would be key.
Kimberly, is that the same for you?
You know, the places where you tend to run out of budget and aren't able to do it is in those reshoots that you need to do because the story didn't fit in with how you thought it would. So yeah, I definitely agree with Amy. Definitely.
So where can people find Daddy Issues now if they want to follow you on social media or, you know, buy the movie even better?
It's Clean Slate Productions on Instagram. And then you can find it on iTunes, Amazon. Yeah,
our website, cleanslate-productions.com, shows everywhere that you can buy the film. But the main platform is iTunes and Amazon. And we are the film with the blue poster, because Daddy Issues, as you can imagine, is a popular title. And so yeah, that's us.
Amy, where can people find you if they want to follow you as you develop your new script?
I'm on disnow.now on Instagram.
And how about you, Kimberly?
Yeah, I'm Kimberly Datnow on Instagram. We love filmmakers and we love what we do, so hit us up.
Reach out and check out the film Daddy Issues. Thank you guys very much for coming on today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Filmmaking is a collaborative experience, and so is this podcast. Follow us on Instagram at framework_productions for upcoming episode announcements, and leave your questions in the comments for our future guests. The first 10 to comment are immediately entered to win a monthly prize. Please take a second to subscribe so you know about future episodes, and leave a review. It really does help us. For more information about today's guest, visit independentfilmmakersguide.com to see visuals, diagrams, and to see links to the episode in video and article form. IFG is a community, and we want to help you in your filmmaking process.
Hi, I'm Anthony Paul Cavaretta, an independent filmmaker from Long Island, New York, and I am reading the credits. IFG is created by Framework Productions and directed by James Allerdyce. It's produced by Matt Mundy, edited by Audrey Rae McHale, and hosted by Stephen Pierce. The music is by Glassboy. Find his music on freemusicarchive.org. See and listen to all the episodes plus bonus content at independentfilmmakersguide.com. Thanks for listening.